Or go to the TuneIn app and search KUAW. Listen to us. We're on 24 hours a day. That's KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. And this is what you hear every day from noon till 2. Don't miss the Cheryl Underwood Show.
Where you at, baby?
Sure, I'm at my first alma mater, Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia. CAU was the first HBCU in the southern United States. Shout out to our affiliate ATL Talks in Atlanta, Georgia, and everyone getting out there to vote for those 2 Senate seats. We love you.
That's what I'm talking.
You are listening to KUAW Radio, home of the all-new Jamal Bake Show, and I'm Jamal Bakes, and thank you so very much for listening to the station bringing you talk, news, entertainment that you won't get anywhere else. KUAWN of and about our community.
Okay. This is Tyrone Gathers Jr., your host of The Source of the Inkwell, live on KUAW, Knowledge, Understanding, and Wisdom. You can check out this broadcast in a number of ways. You can go to KUAW.org. You can also go to the TuneIn app on your mobile device and type in KUAW Radio. You can also go to Facebook, type in KUAW Radio, pop right up. You will be able to see this broadcast. You can also go to KUAW Radio on YouTube and see this broadcast as well. You can also go to Periscope, Twitter, and Twitch. Also, you can go to your Echo or your Google and say, hey, well, Echo is Google, right? You know, the thing you talk to and say, hey, and it'll bring us right to it. So KUAW is trending on multiple platforms, so you can get quality shows like this one, as well as every other show on this station as well, too. KUAW is Kansas City's fastest growing internet station, and we're also Kansas City's global community radio station. Please call at 816-599-6893 or go to KUAW985@gmail.com to give us any feedback, comments, concerns, or donate. All right. It's good to be back here in the Inkwell, and today I have a very, very special guest, and I should have some more hopefully coming in later on or throughout the show. I mean, we gave them the Zoom link or whatnot, so they should be coming in too. But not only am I a radio show host here with KUAW, my main job is I teach. I'm a teacher with the Raytown School District, and within the Raytown School District, I also am a coach, and I'm also the sponsor of the Broadcast Club. Broadcast Club is an organization where we give students the opportunity to get on the radio and talk and broadcast and give the news from their vantage point and from their lens. The name of the show is called RMS Radio, and pretty much every week we sit and we talk about topics and ideas and news that we want to produce. We also do school news, we do sports, we do community stuff, and this year we have a new young lady on the show, Miss Lexi. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good.
Good. Now, not only is Lexi one of my broadcast students, she's also one of my students as well. And it's kind of weird because what you see right now, the whole Zoom piece, is what you see every day. All right, so Lexi is not able to come to class. Every day I see this young lady on the screen. So, Lexi, thanks for joining. First of all, thanks for joining Broadcast Club, and also thanks for accepting the challenge and coming and doing the show this evening.
You're welcome.
All right, so first things first, let's go ahead and get like the students' snapshot. Because I'm going to kind of come in and talk about Broadcast Club later on, but I know people are just dying to know because they've heard it from my vantage point as a parent and slightly as a parent, but more as a teacher about the virtual teaching. Can you let everyone know how virtual education is from your point of view?
I think virtual learning can be hard on a lot of students, including myself. We don't get a lot of class time. We can't really interact with our teachers the way we used to, like asking questions and getting the answers right away. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stress that I believe is going on too with me. It can really be hard on kids to do what they're supposed to do and be at home, and we have a lot of distractions around us.
Right. Yeah, you're right. And I think we talked about distractions a lot too, because in class, you can't just pull out your cell phone and chat or text somebody, or you can't just go and on the TV and watch TV like for example, I don't know what's going on the other side of those the little box. You can have a whole TV and a party going on for a while, I know. So yeah, so what type of distractions do you think kids might go through?
Like when their parents are home with them, I think their parents being on meetings and talking can distract them. I think if you have little siblings or even older siblings, that can be a distraction too, because we're all at home and there's just so much things that people have to do that your work and their work can be a distraction. And I also think technology is a big distraction too.
Ooh, okay. Now you're getting somewhere, because see, people think that this whole technology thing is like a godsend. Well, it's some benefits to it, but like personally, I know that technology can be a distraction for me as an adult, as an old 83-year-old. So it's a little inside joke me and this young lady have. So how can technology be a distraction for a student in the classroom?
Like with the phones, we're constantly always on our phones because we're always on our phones no matter where we are or what we're doing. And I think with our phones being right there instead of being in our lockers or in our backpacks, that it can be like, oh, I got a notification, let me see what this is, instead of paying attention to what you're supposed to be doing in class.
Yeah, because like I'm guilty of this too. There's been times where I'll be in a Zoom, and we also have another one of my former students here on the other side, but she's not on camera. She's observing. She's a college student. Same thing. There's been times where I'll be on the Zoom or on a Zoom meeting, and I'd see my team is here or whoever I'm meeting with is here, and I'm on the other screen, doing grades or doing something else. So I mean, yeah, it's there. It's like putting a bag of candy in front of a kid. They're gonna eat it. So with this whole virtual piece, do you see a lot of students talking about being sad or like saying, I really want to go to school?
Yeah, there are kids out there who say they are sad and they want to go to school because school is where they have like fun, you get to be your friends. And school for some kids can also be their safe place. So yeah. I think it has taken a really big toll on the kids out there.
Yeah, you nailed it when you said school is a safe place, because there are a lot of kids who come to school to get different things. Like, to be honest here, I mean, some kids, that teacher in that building might be their only saving grace. Or, you got a lot of services that schools give out. You got the cafeteria, you have sports. I mean, that was for me when I was coaching football. I'm like, this is what I need. I'm around kids. And all the other coaches said the same exact thing. Because if you notice, I was a lot happier during the coaching season because I was around kids. So, when I was in the classroom with you all, I'm like, okay, cool. I was around kids today. I'm happy. Because, see, I think kids really don't understand that when you all aren't there, it really affects teachers too. So that the depression that you all are experiencing, or that some of us may be experiencing, teachers are experiencing that also. Because I guarantee you probably hear some kids who are like, when they're in school, they talk about how much they hate school, but now that they're home, I really wish I was in school. Right. Yeah. You see a lot of that going on. Now, we talked about classwork too. Now, what are some of the pros and cons of actually being able to have, with this whole virtual piece? What are some good things and what are some negative things? And, and Lexi, I'm going to let people know about Lexi. Lexi is one of those students that she keeps it real. All right, and when I first met this young lady, immediately, in a good way. I mean, she's always keeping me on my toes. Mr. Gathers, you gotta do this or you gotta do that. If I'm having an issue with some electronic, no, do this or do that. So yeah. So it's all good. I mean, she's one of those ones that that keeps it real. So from your vantage point, whether it's something that you've seen or something that you've heard someone say, what are some pros and cons of the whole online education thing?
So I would say some negative things for me is I like to work ahead a lot.
Mm-hmm.
When work is in or things to do, I tend to go in there and want to do it instead of waiting. I think that is something that I need to work on, and it's also something that's negative. But I think a pro to it is that teachers, when we're in school, you get a lot of work, I would say, and I would sometimes some kids feel like they need more time, and I think the teachers are really reasonable with the timing now. Like you maybe get a week or a couple of days to get it finished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. And everyone has that extended time piece because I know there's been times where I would sit back and say, hey, I know we're all not done. Let's take a little bit more time and do this because there are a lot of factors. Because I think one thing that teachers need to understand, and I think that with you here with me too, you can kind of vouch for this, is that just because a student doesn't get an assignment turned in on time, it doesn't mean that they're exactly slacking off. There are other distractions there that may affect this. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's very fair.
Yeah,
to say.
yeah. Let's see if we have any other students on the Zoom. Let me see. We're gonna look real quick. Okay, just me and you so far. Okay, so now also with this whole thing with Zoom, and you've heard me kind of go off on this in time, at times in class, where the actual system sometimes messes up. We'll be right in the middle of a lesson, and all of a sudden, it cuts out. So what technology flaws do you see, like as far as with the systems? We talked about the aesthetics of it. Let's talk about the actual Zoom piece. What are some good things and some bad things about Zoom?
With the Zoom piece, I feel like the internet is really, it can be laggy sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It could like cut you out of the whole Zoom. I've had that happen multiple times. I also think Zoom is just, we can't interact. Like Zoom is over a screen. You never know what I'm doing. Or there's a chat piece, and a lot of kids, including myself, we all use a chat instead of actually talking to our teachers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like that. We got a whole family sitting at the dinner table and everyone's texting. That's how that chat feature is. Now I know in our classes, I disabled the chat to where only kids can chat to me. Now when school first started, kids were chatting like crazy to each other. Hey Trinae, yeah, Lexi, yeah, Mr. Walker. I mean, everyone. I'm sitting in class like, wow, all this is going on right now. I mean, all these messages going back and forth, kids. I mean, it wasn't nothing inappropriate. It was just like, yeah, like a room full of kittens, So that was a distracting piece. And then of course, yeah, with Zoom too. There's been time. Now I know in my classroom, for some strange reason, the kids would be like, "Well, I can't hear you," or you cutting out, and that would kind of get on my nerves. But then at home, I never had an issue. Right now, never an issue. No one's getting booted out or anything. But this whole thing with the whole Zoom thing, you made a good point. Internet. Everyone's internet is different. Now, if you were all in the school building, we all got, the same internet capacity. But now we got people all over the place. And, in Raytown, you have our school district touches kids in the Kansas City area, Raytown area, and the independence area. And then we had some kids that were on Zoom in other cities, and one young lady was on Zoom in another country. Now, that's a good thing about the virtual piece is I can be on the moon and be like, hey, kids, blah, blah, blah. But if the internet is spotty up there or wherever we are at a loss. So I've noticed that too, and then, we also talked about the whole talking with the teacher. Some kids just don't feel comfortable turning on the camera or talking. So they do the whole little chat thing. And, sometimes when you ask a question, what is the noun in this sentence? You got to sit and wait for a kid to chat it in versus just undoing the microphone and talking. So many factors. I personally think that the virtual piece sometimes it's a two-sided coin. On one side, you have kids who can actually shine. And on the other side of the coin, you got kids that can hide more. I don't want to talk. I don't want to be seen. So I'm gonna just put my little black screen up to where you can't see me. So I don't know. But I mean, it is what it is. Now, let's talk about this whole broadcast club piece. Okay. Now, you've never done broadcast club before. Never. Now, it came on a whim. Now, one thing I will say, Lexi has one of those parents who was just like the parents when I was growing up, old school type of parent. And, this is an opportunity that personally I think any kid should jump on, because it gives kids an opportunity to tell the news from their vantage point. Let's be honest. I mean, when you look at the news from that depicts the information about our students, it's not positive. There's always something negative. If it's not something involved with death, it's something involved with crime or something that kind of adheres to a stereotype. But with RMS Radio, one thing I will say is Dr. May is investing in this club to give kids a positive outlook, a positive voice. So, Lexi, what are some things that you want to see on the news?
I want to see what's actually going on with people, not things that want to be hidden. I want to know what's actually in real life going on, like gun violence, police brutality, what's happening in our schools.
Yeah, the real. I mean, it's one thing, like someone made a comment and they said that, this whole thing about children shouldn't be seen or shouldn't be heard. That's not true. You all have a voice too. You all are being affected by this as much as anybody else. I mean, think about it. We got this whole pandemic thing going on, and students are the ones that are being affected the most. Because I mean, if you look at it, you made a capital point. You said that we're not in the school, and there's so much stuff that we can get inside the school. But now the achievement gap is getting wider and wider and wider because we're not in school. So that's also a good benefit about Broadcast Club, because we do talk about speaking skills and reading skills and writing skills. So it's kind of like an additive to your English language arts class. Now, as far as the thing that you said that you want to see on the news, what are some of the things that, because you do have the opportunity. I mean, you are a radio show host right now. How old are you right now? You're like, what, 12?
Yes, I'm 12.
Okay. So you're one of the youngest radio hosts in the city, if not the state. Okay. That's a big deal. So if anyone's listening, if your family's listening, yeah, Lexi is a radio show hostess with KUAW. So what I'm doing right now, she will be doing. So, I mean, in my opinion, that's a big deal. So let's say that, you are actually doing this show with your hostmates. What are some of the things that you might want to discuss? What do you want to control? What do you want to talk about? I know it's a loaded question, but sky's the limit.
Yeah. The things I would like to talk about is what I discussed on like gun violence, like what's really going on in our communities, because there's a lot of things that we don't see, but we hear about, and that can be wrong or false or added on to. I would like to see maybe some more stuff about COVID, like the vaccinations. I know that going on right now. The numbers, like, I don't know how big or how large the numbers are. I just know what I hear. I would also maybe want to see more things about our schools, how school is happening, going on for some kids, how some kids go to school, some kids don't go to school, and how that's affecting some kids out there. Wow.
See, that's dope. Now, you also gave another aspect and another advantage of being a part of Broadcast Club, the research piece. Because everything you talked about, I was hearing you say, I want to know, I want to find out, I want to see. and that's research. And research is a definite skill if you're inside the academic arena and if you're outside the academic arena. It's always good to do your research on whatever it is that you're talking about. So that's good. That's definitely good. Now, I know earlier we talked about mom. Did mom want to get on an interview briefly, or is she like, nah, I'm cool?
She's more like, nah, I'm cool.
Okay, good. Okay, yeah. Because I mean, because it's kind of, the goal was to kind of get like that parental piece too, to see how we look at the whole aspect though. But Lexi, I do want to thank you for coming in. And I definitely want to thank you for being a guest on the show. Now, RMS Radio will be coming in every last Thursday of the month at 7:00 p.m. That's the time slot that we have for you all, hopefully starting in January. We had a slight delay due to COVID because our clubs were started a little bit later. But we do have a teaser show for you all that we will be sending in. We recorded it about a week ago. So we're going to, spin that on there. And also, Lexi, we will take this half of the show. Mr. Walker, is there any way we can take this half of the show with Lexi and send it out? Like chopped it in half? Okay. Okay, cool. Yeah, so Lexi, now this piece right here, we can also take it, split it in half, and give this component to the school as well, so they can kind of see your contribution too, because you are giving the news. So this is like your first show in the pocket. So out of all the broadcast club kids, you're the newest one, and you got your show first. So congratulations on that. So,
thank you.
Oh no, thank you. Now, is there anything else that you want to say, or I mean, I'm not kicking you out. I'm just thinking you might have something better you want to do.
No, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you for being a remarkable student, and I'm looking forward to more, show times with you and the rest of the students on RMS Radio. So what we're going to do, we're going to transition real quick. We're going to go ahead and, Lexi, we'll see you after the break. Have a good holiday season. Tell Mom thank you again, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
All right, see you soon. Merry Christmas and have a good New Year.
You too. All right. Okay, cool.
All right, you're listening to KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. We don't only bring you videos on Facebook and YouTube, but listen to our audio only, where you'll get shows like Cheryl Underwood and Blues Time in the City. You can pick us up at www.kuaw.org or go to the TuneIn app and search KUAW. Listen to us. We're on 24 hours a day. That's KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. And this is what you hear every day from noon till 2. Don't miss the Cheryl Underwood Show.
Where you at, baby?
Sure, I'm at my first alma mater, Clark Atlanta University in Atlanta, Georgia. CAU was the first HBCU in the southern United States. Shout out to our affiliate ATL Talks in Atlanta, Georgia, and everyone getting out there to vote for those 2 Senate seats. We love you.
That's what I'm talking.
You are listening to KUAW Radio, home of the all-new Jamal Bakes Show, and I'm Jamal Bakes, and thank you so very much for listening to the station bringing you talk, news, entertainment that you won't get anywhere else. KUAW, in, of, and about our community.
This is the last weekend before Christmas, and on Blues Time in the City, we're wrapping up our all Christmas blues and Southern Soul program.
Oh, Gene Bailey.
We have a very special guest that you will definitely enjoy, and we'll hear from some of the artists that sing the Christmas blues. Join me, Gene Bailey, for Blues Time in the City this weekend before Christmas, right here.
This is comedian Janelle Banks, and you are listening to KUAW, Kansas City.
KUAW listeners, this is Carl Boyd for Wave Your Grades, coming to you every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW. This program features American students striving for excellence in honor of our troops and American veterans, encouraging American students. Please join us every Saturday from 1 until 2 p.m. right here on KUAW.
Now on the air in Kansas City, the Cheryl Underwood Show.
We are proud to be part of the KUAW family.
The Cheryl Underwood Show. Weekdays Monday through Friday at 12 noon. KUAW around the world on KUAW.org.
Ty Tribbett, we gonna be all right here on the Jamal Bakes Show. I'm your brother in Christ, Jamal Bakes. Thank you all so very much for hanging out with me, fam, for another weekend, all right? We've got a big show for you, man. As always, the Rose Show Live will be here with her Faith Move next. And we talked to my man, the Laugh Therapist, later on in the show. We've got music on the way from Doe. We've got Corinne Hawthorne, Keandra Lockett, brand new William McDowell. Cannot wait to share that one with you as well, all right? And a whole lot more. Listen, follow me right now on social media.
All right, we are back. This is Tyrone Gathers Jr., your host of The Source of the Inkwell, live on KUAW Radio. KUAW, Kansas City's global community radio station. Knowledge, understanding, and wisdom is Kansas City's #1 fastest growing internet radio station. You can reach out to us at 816-599-6893 to comment. You can also reach out to us at KUAW985@gmail.com to give any comments, questions, or concerns. You can listen to this broadcast a number of ways. You can go to your no matter rather this off. You can go to your Echo Dot or your Alexa and say play KUAW Radio. You can go to the TuneIn app on your phone and type in KUAW Radio. You can also go to KUAW.org. Or if you want to actually see us and interact with us as well, too, you can go to Twitch, Twitter, Periscope, Facebook, and YouTube, and type in KUAW Radio. Now, the first half of my show, I introduced a broadcast club member and a new student, and we talked about virtual education. We talked about her position on RMS Radio, which is a show that Raytown Middle School is doing with their students, and also we talked about how she was internalizing the whole virtual teaching. Very exceptional student. She did an excellent job. So if you have time to go back and check out the interview, please do. Also, not only do we have another one of my former students, well, briefly through a summer program. Also, I grew up knowing this young lady's family, both sides of her family all my life. Matter of fact, her family is like family to us as well, too. I got a phone call from this young lady saying, hey, I'm interested in radio. Can I come in and check it out? Now, when you come into the Inkwell, you just don't sit and watch. You got to get in. You got to get in and absorb some of the ink. So go ahead and introduce yourself to everyone.
I'm Trinae Reed.
Sorry.
Yeah. Newly married. Got to get used to that.
Yeah. Newlywed. Yeah, Trinae Reed. Yeah, and just got through celebrating your first anniversary.
First year anniversary. Just past December 7th.
Okay, yeah. Now, I remember seeing the pictures of the wedding. Beautiful occasion.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it was was COVID going on around that time?
No, not yet. It was literally a year before all this started happening.
Okay.
So we got in right before that.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, well, I'm glad you were able to because I don't want you having no COVID wedding, everybody on Zoom. That would actually kind of interesting. Yeah, it would have been.
Everybody having their own little party, and then you party over here at the house or at the hotel. Like that actually kind of interesting.
Save you some money too.
Hey, right?
Yeah,
go straight to the hotel room. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Go straight to vacation.
Yeah.
Put it on Zoom.
Well, the vacation part. Yeah.
The ceremony.
Oh yeah. No, I'm talking about that. Yeah. No, yeah. Then like then you and the minister and yeah, that would have worked out. Yeah, see.
Hey, we giving y'all wedding ideas already.
Yes. So when that happens, you got to pay us a little finder's fee.
Facts,
I'm thinking like 75%.
Hey, I'm liking 75%.
75%.
75 sounds good.
We in a recession. We got a Trump in office.
Hey,
yeah.
We only got $600 stimulus package coming.
$600. Yeah. So and as you can see, this young lady already is a ball of fun. Okay, she's been like this since she was a kid. She's been that funny. Okay. Now, you reached out to me.
Yes, sir.
And you said that you want to do a podcast.
Yes.
Or something with radio, something with what we're doing here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, what do you want to do?
In all honesty, I was actually given this idea.
Okay.
I would get on my little soapbox or TED Talks, as we call them now, I guess. And people would just comment, be like, hey, you should do a podcast. Hey, you should do a podcast. Hey, you should do a podcast. Hey, that's a cool idea. And then my mom came to me. She was like, hey, seriously, you should do a podcast. Like, I got friends who are her age, and I have friends my age and younger, and they're like, yeah, you got some interesting points of view. So,
Right.
I mean, nothing I would be doing is stating facts. Like, I'm not a historian or a scholar or anything like that. I just know how to read. I have good comprehension skills. I know how to do research, so I can formulate my own conclusion on anything.
Now, I would say, I would slightly disagree. I will say that you are a scholar because you recognize that I got to do my own research. And I think the one of the first steps of wisdom is accepting that you don't know everything and that you know where to get the information from. And I will say that when we're also friends on Facebook too, and some of the stuff that you post and talk about, I'm like, man,
it's out there.
I'm like, this young lady is woke. She knows what's going on. As a matter of fact, we were talking about the history of suburbs on the way up in here, and I mean, you're able to bounce these conversations off.
Yeah.
So, I like that. So deep information that people got to do research on.
Oh yeah.
So let me ask this question. Now, what aspect of information are you going to dig into? I kind of got an idea, but I want you to confirm it with what you're about to say.
Well, I mean, you know me since my whole life, so you know where my heart is. You know I love Black history. I love my people, all of us, from all the way to things like aliens and conspiracy theories and all types of stuff. So really, anything, actually, like football is a conversation we could talk about, whether it's the actual sport or how you feel the NFL treats their players as far as coming from a position of color. You can look at it from any perspective. Basketball, like we were talking about the suburbs, how that came to be about, how we got this major wealth disparity between the classes, the races, because I mean everything's intertwined. So I guess I could say my main goal is let's find where it all connects and see if we can kind of dissect some of that a little bit, try to solve some problems instead of just constantly creating a problem or pointing out a problem. Let's see if we can pick some of this apart and see what we can solve. See if we can change.
I like that because Pete O'Neill we're connected on Facebook. He used to be in Kansas City, Missouri. He now lives in Cameroon, and I remember I was watching his documentary, A Panther in Africa. He was a former Black Panther, and there was one scene that was very powerful, and it was him and a white gentleman, because people coming down, they go and visit Mr. O'Neill all the time.
Yeah.
And this white gentleman and Mr. O'Neill were having a conversation, and the white gentleman got kind of frustrated, and then want to continue. So Mr. O'Neill said, no, we need to have the conversation. That's how we can get over this stuff, by having a conversation.
Exactly.
And there are a lot of things that, and when I saw that changed my whole aspect on teaching. Just in general, it's the conversational piece, not talking at people, talking with people.
Yeah.
And from what I'm gathering on what you're trying to say, what you are saying, is that you want to have that conversation, and let's dig a little bit deeper. I mean, this is what they saying that it is. This is an apple.
Yeah.
But let's really dig in on what this apple can actually do.
Yeah.
What else can it do?
Oh yeah.
This is a cell phone. But what else can a cell phone actually do?
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah.
Like another prime example of that would be like, for example, I hear a lot of men make comments on women putting them on child support. Now I understand that's a touchy subject, and I don't have children myself, so I understand that. But as a person who can see how things are connected, why don't we dive deeper into that? Like, is it really the woman doing that, or is that the state doing that to perpetuate a system? You got to look deeper into things. Now, I'm not saying every woman is perfect and no woman wants to put a man on child support.
Right,
That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
But I am saying that there are instances where women don't want that, and the state pursues that because of precedent that has already been set.
Yes.
So when I say let's look deeper into things, that's what I mean. Let's dive a little bit deeper. Let's get into that. Let's understand why welfare and child support is a staple in the Black community and not really seen anywhere else. Let's talk about this.
You just brought up something. I've noticed in the school system, there's two ways that we discipline children. Okay. One of them is behavioral.
Yeah.
Okay. Trinae's talking. All right. So, so you're talking. I give you an immediate consequence for talking. I send you out, call your mama. If it was the 1960s, you get a whooping, whatever.
Right.
Okay. If it was cognitive, let's find out why she's talking so much.
Exactly.
Who is she sitting next to? Is she not able to talk at home? I mean, what's the issue?
Is there a reason?
Is there a reason? So, and I think the thing that really catches our kids up, you see a lot of children of color get caught up because they get behavioral consequences versus cognitive consequences. And I'm thinking that with your podcast or your show, either way it goes, I hope it's piped out through here, is that you want that cognitive conversation.
Yeah,
that sounds like a good name, cognitive conversation.
That does actually. that really does. I mean, because so many times, like, you're an educator, so you've seen it so many times, especially our children, people of color, whether that be black or brown, it doesn't matter. We've always, when it comes to punishment, they tend to always go to the extreme with us. Whereas our counterparts, they'll get the warning or the slap on the wrist. Whereas we, like you said, they're calling our parents, we're getting expelled, detentions. Now, when you look deeper into that, what's the repercussions on the academic end of that?
There you go.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, it all plays together. You know what I mean? So until we stop and actually think about it, like, I did research on the prison industrial complex, school to prison pipeline. A lot of people don't realize that if your child isn't reading on their level by 3rd grade, the government makes a bed for them in prison. So it's a deeper understanding into this. Now, because of that, our teachers, especially our black teachers, what did they end up start doing? They started teaching a test. Because now I don't want you to fall behind because I don't want you to go to prison. But what are they sacrificing by teaching you a test? Now they don't teach you how to think.
Right.
They don't teach you how to do research. They don't teach you how to ask these questions, what questions you need to ask. So there's always a catch-22 in whatever we do. So what's the catch-22? A lot of times we forget about the catch-22 or ignore the catch-22. I want to bring the catch-22 to light. Because a lot of times that's where our problems are intersected. Is in that catch-22 that nobody wants to talk about, in that gray area. Yeah,
you're nailing that, because for you being on the outside looking in, we talk about that prison pipeline all the time.
All the time.
And I actually see it,
all the time.
or I've seen it within educational arenas, and it's very evident. I mean, there are actual protocols put in place that if you really look at it, they're grooming those kids for prison.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Why is there a school resource officer in high schools, man? Why do I need to get used to authoritative presence every day?
Well, see, look at it like this. In some schools, see, someone made a good point that school segregation still exists.
Yeah.
And they exist based on the zip code.
Yep.
Now, depending on the zip code, you're either policed or you're secured.
Exactly.
Now, being secured, I feel safe. They're protecting me from the threat outside.
Yep.
If I'm being policed, I'm the threat.
Yes.
And these kids are being policed.
Policed every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day. And then they wonder why we don't like the police. We grow up every day with them in our face, saying something's wrong with us, saying we the problem. You go to school, from the time you're in kindergarten all the way to the time you're a senior in high school, there's a school resource officer right there, not with a taser, with a gun. In an elementary school with a gun.
Now see, now here's the thing. Now I worked at a high school in the area, and I wish somebody would say that what we're talking about is a fairy tale or a hoax. Now there are people who are put in positions of authority who aren't used to being around people that look different than them. And they get all their information based off of what they see on television or what they hear or some passed on. Well, there was a security officer who was our lead security officer. I called the man Captain America because he was so clean-cut Boy Scout. And there was a fight. I'm sorry, no, it wasn't a fight. We had an assembly, and I believe it was a Black History assembly. But either way it goes, it was an assembly. And this man had a thing of pepper spray, and he's up here shaking it up, walking around, itching to use it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking like, hey, man, what? We cool.
Chill.
And then I looked at him one time, and he's sitting back. The Southwest, you have to see. He had his gun on his hip. He's just tapping it.
Yeah.
As he's walking around the students, just tapping it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not even necessary, because see, if I was a student and I saw that, I would immediately tell my parent that this individual's walking around students tapping.
Like you're the threat.
Yeah.
And he's here to protect you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a lot of nice guy talking to me and him one-on-one, but when it came to those students, he was very excessive. And I'm glad that the school district saw this man was like this, and they said, we can't have you here.
Yeah. I mean, like with being a police officer, I understand that the job is scary. I get that.
Yeah.
But you can't do a scary job being scared. You can't do that. That's how mistakes happen. That's how we get Mike Browns and Freddie Grays. That's how that happens. You can't be scared doing a scary job. Imagine if the firefighter was scared of a fire.
Oh man, look.
You know how many people will be dead? How many buildings will be burned down?
Yeah.
You can't be scared doing a scary job. Like myself, I'm an electrician.
You can't be scared doing a scary job.
You can't. Like, for example, I'm an electrician. I work in construction. It's a dangerous job if you don't know what you're doing. You can very well die. But you can't go into that every day afraid I'm going to die. Like, you can't do that. It's going to change how you do the job. And you're going to end up doing something unsafe.
And that's like when you have teachers who are afraid of kids.
Yeah.
Same thing. That's dangerous too.
It's dangerous.
I remember they were talking about saying we need to arm teachers with guns. I said no.
No, that's the last thing you need to do.
I'm a teacher, and I said no.
It's the last thing you need to do.
I said, look at that teacher right there. That teacher writes up kids for every little thing.
Everything.
That teacher bucks at everything these kids do. So could you imagine putting a pistol on the person? No, don't do that.
That's a horrible idea. Horrible idea.
And when they were talking about doing that, I said, the day y'all arm teachers, I will resign. Because I would not feel safe.
No.
Because, as being a black teacher, a black male teacher, I'm looked at crazy.
Exactly.
I'm looked at strange.
Exactly.
I got people that come in the school building. Every school building I've been in, well, with the exception of the one where it's predominantly black staff, people are like, what do you do here?
Yeah.
I teach. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, are you shocked? I mean, I had a parent tell me, I'm glad, I think you might have commented on this, if you remember. I'm at a track meet, and it was myself and two other coaches. They, both white gentlemen, and and one of them I'm real close to this day, like a brother of mine. And this woman comes by and she says, "Hey, so you're Mr. Geathers?" I said, "Yeah." "Oh, well, you're not what I expected you to be." And I said, "Well, what did you expect me to be?" "Oh, well, I thought you'd be a white man, based on how my son was talking about you." I'm like,
wow. So her son can't feel any type of affection towards a teacher.
I'm like, okay. All right. So I just when she said that, the other coach was like, we all kind of looked.
Yeah, it's one of those sideways glance moments.
And then of course she saw the quietness and she just walked away.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. All right.
Yeah. No. No. That's not okay.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
I mean, and as I was thinking about that whole Chadwick Boseman Saturday Night Live sketch came in. Caring from human resources.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy because I'm starting to realize that's the disconnect. When they really don't understand, or they say they see you as a person, but they really don't. Because they only see what the media portrays of you. That's that disconnect. When you don't even recognize that I'm a person. Like, why would you even say that?
Right. And then and what you're talking about on your podcast is that you're gonna talk about those things that disconnect. You're talking about, so you said you're an electrician. Part of what an electrician does, and correct me if I'm wrong, is making sure that current flows.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So you're going to make sure that the connection between people and conversation and cognitive thinking flows.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, that's all we are, man. We're just people.
Yeah.
I used to tell people all the time, like, the N-word, that's not necessarily a black person. When you look up the definition of it, it's an ignorant person.
Right.
Anybody can be that. So I tell people, black people don't like them either. So why y'all trying to always lump them with us?
Yeah.
We don't like them either.
It's an ideal that was assigned to us.
It's an ideal.
And then what gets me is how people say we own that word. I said, so how do you own something that's not even giving you any wealth?
Right.
That's silly. I mean, I guarantee you, the more and more we say it, we're putting money in the oppressor's pocket.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's like saying, this is my business. I own this business. I own this.
Yeah.
But all the dollars that come in go to you.
Yeah. That's just like walking into a Walmart and be like, this is my Walmart now. Like, it don't do nothing. Like, okay.
And then, like, when you say that, there's that guy on the side. No, it's not. I mean,
right. Not. The manager's over here like, you ain't my boss.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So I get it. And I mean, and like, it's two sides to that same coin. Like, the same way you feel like you can't own it, I feel like, why should you be offended by it? I remember I was once told from a woman we both know, Lynn Miller. She once told me, why are you getting mad at somebody calling you something if that's not what you are? And ever since she told me that, I'm like, she's right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why am I upset about you calling me that? If that's not who I am, it doesn't matter if that's what you call me. Who I am is gonna come out regardless of what you call me. So you can call me whatever you want, and then when people see me and interact with me, they be like, "Oh no, she's not that at all."
Right.
So my actions are gonna disprove you. I don't even need to get upset about it.
Right. Exactly. It's like it's not me.
It's not me.
And of course, you're adding more to your repertoire when you have your own stuff. Your own show. I don't know. No, I know Trinae from this over here.
Right.
You're talking about some fairy tales.
Yeah.
It's a hoax. It's
exactly
fake news.
Since that's the catchphrase for all 2021.
Right. Nah, shoot, man. That was a catchphrase for 4 years. That dude was talking. Nah, that's fake news.
That fake news was killing me, man.
Yeah, it was.
That was killing me.
I look like, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
man. Like, once he started saying that, I had to consciously stop watching American news. I had to consciously stop watching it.
And it's funny that you say that because I started watching what other people was looking at.
Dude,
and we were the goofy kid in the
we
classroom.
are clowns.
We are
clowns.
We were the goofy kid in the classroom. I mean,
clowns.
you got Ghana and France, and Australia. Look at America.
I was about to say, once I saw Australia talking stuff, poking fun, that's when I knew. I was like, oh, it's a wrap.
Yeah. I mean,
we're the class clowns out here.
Yeah, you got little third world countries.
Yeah.
You got,
like, even Canada has stuff to say at some
Canada's
point.
Like,
they don't talk about nobody.
Canada and Mexico's like, oh, they sitting between us, so we know all about America.
Man,
they sit right in between us.
And when he came out with the wall, I was ridiculously laughing. Cause, like I said, I work in construction, so I work with Mexicans. It's okay. Like, I mean, I need Google Translate to hold a conversation.
Right.
When I tell you, he said build the wall, these guys were cracking up. Okay? They were offering to build it themselves. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, dude, that's not gonna work, bro. They got tunnels. What do you mean?
Yeah, that,
what
and also, and then you
for?
say it's not a racist thing, but you don't put the wall up by Canada. Someone said, well, no one's sneaking. So no, how many Americans do you know sneak into Canada? So
Americans go to Canada and steal prescriptions.
And
okay?
more than that.
We are criminals in Canada.
And asylum. Look at Randy Quaid. Google him.
Man, hey.
But now, the good thing about broadcast is you sat down and you jumped right into it.
Yeah, it's because it's conversation.
And that's how it's supposed to be. Right?
That's true.
And now let me tell you the bad thing about broadcast. It's time. It's just like that.
Yeah.
See, now we're at the end of our time.
See, that went by quick, man. I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
See that? Now, one of my brother got on the show and he said the good thing about being on the show with me is this conversation. So, hopefully, Trinae's podcast, it will come to fruition.
Oh yeah.
And the good thing about KUAW, whether if you don't want to do it on our show, I mean on our station or not, I think Mr. Walker, we can still play podcasts on KUAW, right? Yeah. So if you do it outside of KUAW to get you more notoriety, you can just play it on play it on whatever you're planning on, and we'll be another vessel for you too.
That's
and
awesome,
also KUAW comes with the YouTube and all that kind of stuff also. So it's something to think about.
Oh yeah.
But I want to go ahead and close up and say, this was a good show because I had a current student and a past student educate us on things. That was a blessing because in the sources of Inkwell, education is ink. And we like to let that ink overflow. And just like ink, let education stain permanently. So, I'm Tyrone Gathers Jr. with future podcast hostess Trinae Reed with the Cognitive Conversation. Hopefully, we'll see you all next week. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless. And we will see you all. Oh, Happy Kwanzaa, too. Can't forget about that.
Oh, yeah. Can't forget Kwanzaa, man.
Kwanzaa. Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, so hey, because that time for Kwanzaa is coming up too,
yes,
and also
sir.
Happy Hanukkah too. So whatever you celebrate it, do it safely. God bless. See you next time.
Nice.
All right, you're listening to KUAW Radio, Kansas City's global community radio station. We don't only bring you video.